What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with my Week 17 NFL Power Rankings. This week, Commanders move up after a huge win against the Eagles. Cardinals fall after getting knocked out of the playoffs by the Panthers. But 29 through 32, Raiders, Jaguars, Titans, Giants all fighting for the number one pick right now. Obviously, the Giants are the only 2-13 team in the league, so they have the pick. They get the Colts this week at home. Titans, Jaguars play each other, and it's a huge game because Titans are probably going to look for a quarterback next year. Jaguars probably are not with Lawrence coming back in his contract, so they could be in the running for Travis Hunter. Now, if they lose, probably Travis Hunter might be theirs. Titans lose, Shador, Cam Ward possibly could be theirs. So it's a big game for those two. And then same goes for the Raiders as they get the Saints who just got blown out 25 through 28. Same thing for these teams, all fighting for a top pick as they're very close in records with 2 weeks to go. Saints don't have a shot at the number one pick, but still have a good chance at getting a top five pick if they were to lose out. Like I said, they get the Raiders this week. It's a big game for both those teams. Browns as well. Dolphins at home in the cold weather. Browns, play well in the weather where the Dolphins do not. Then the Patriots made things interesting last week against the Bills, so I'm moving them up a spot. Played that game very well, leading at half, just couldn't get it done in the second half, and then get the Chargers at home. And then you have the Bears, just didn't show up. Forgot how to play football, and that's kind of what we're seeing out of this Bears team. But you get the Seahawks at home and could play spoiler to their playoff chances. 21 through 24. These teams are all out of it as well, except the Colts. They need a lot to happen. But Niners getting eliminated last week with their loss. Panthers playing spoiler for the last few weeks. Bryce Young getting known as the Slim Reaper, getting head coaches fired, knocking teams out of the playoffs. Could do the same thing to the Bucks this week. And Panthers should have beat the Bucks already once this year, if not for a fumble. So the Panthers are going to play the Bucks tough, and then the Jets are looking forward to next year. 17 through 20, Seahawks are the and the Dolphins are the only team on this list that have a chance to make the playoffs. Especially Dolphins somehow, some way could find their way in, but it's probably unlikely. Seahawks need a win out and they need some help after their loss to the Vikings at home last week. But the Cardinals, I think they're just a year away. I think they have the team in place. They just need to develop a little bit more. I think their third year under Gannon could be the year where they ascend to the top of the NFC West. Cowboys, when fully healthy, are a very good team. You can see it. Their defense is finally healthy. If they had Dak, I think this team at worst right now would probably be, I would honestly go 10-5. I think the Cowboys could be 10-5, very realistic at this point in the season. They get the Eagles this week in a tough matchup. 13 through 16 are all teams fighting for a playoff bid, except the Texans. They're probably going to win the South if they win out, or I think they already have won the South if they win out. Bucks and Falcons obviously fighting for the NFC South. It's going to come down probably to the last week, let's be honest. And then the Bengals need to win out and need the Broncos to lose out and the Colts loss for them to get in. So there's still a lot on the table for all four of these teams. 9 through 12, I think you get teams that are pretty comfortable with where they're at. One win and they're in. That goes for the Chargers and the Broncos. Commanders pretty much in the playoffs at this point. If they get one, if they beat the Falcons, they're in. Now, if they lose out, they still need a lot to happen for them to not make the playoffs. Steelers probably not going to win. They're losing at half 13-7 as I'm making this video. So, the Steelers are in the playoffs, but they're playing for seeding at this point and the AFC North. So that's a huge loss last week to the Ravens. That's why they're falling down one spot as well. And the Commanders, obviously, that's why they're moving up 6 spots with that huge win at home against the Eagles to really solidify to me and to a lot of other people that this Commanders team isn't a joke this year. They're not a fluke. They're going to get in the playoffs and play someone tough. 5 through 8. And I bet you didn't expect to see the Rams here in the top 8 after probably halfway through the year when Puka was hurt, Kupp was hurt. This team was really struggling, but they've really found their footing since they've both been back. They haven't been the best wins, but a win is a win at this point, and they're gaining that traction that you don't want to play that team in the playoffs, especially now that they're winning the NFC West, hosting a playoff game. Whoever goes in there right now would be my Packers. Going to be a tough environment going into the Rams home stadium to play a game. And obviously the Packers Rams would be a great game. But for a Packers standpoint, I hope they do not have to go into Los Angeles. Now you have the Ravens and the Eagles. Ravens especially have the division. They don't have the tiebreaker right now. But if they win out and the Steelers were to lose one more, obviously they win the division. But it's a big week for them on Christmas as well. Getting the Texans on the road, huge game for them. Eagles, like I said, lost to the Commanders at the last second, so they're only falling down one spot. Cowboys at home should win that game. Still have a chance for the one seed in the NFC, but need a lot to happen. Then one through four, probably what you would expect at this point in the season. I think you could argue for the Chiefs to be ahead of the Bills, even though their only loss is to the Bills, just because the Bills really haven't been playing their best football here these last few weeks. Struggled to beat the Patriots, lose the week before, beat the Lions the week before, and then lose the week before to the Rams, where they still put up over 40. And I think, it was a good eye opener for them this week, losing to the Patriots at home. But they get the Jets at home. Hopefully, last week's performance was a fluke in that performance, and I think the Bills could probably put up 40 again on the Jets. Chiefs up at half, like I said, against the Steelers on the road. If they get to 15 and 1, win that game, they are going to be the one seed. Lions and Vikings, when they play week 18, if both were to win this week, it is for the number one seed in the NFC. The other one, unfortunately, is going to have to go on the road and play the four seed, which is more than likely going to be the NFC South champion. So a lot on the line in week 18, but this week, obviously, same thing goes. Lions, they lose and still win and beat the Vikings in week 18. They get the number one seed. Vikings lose here, and Lions win the division, and the one seed is going to be theirs no matter what happens in week 18. So a lot on the line this week and, of course, next week. But that's going to be it for my week 17 power rankings. Check back next week to see where your team ranks with only 1 week to go. But until the next time, the Bench Buddies are out.